Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pasta Jardula here.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Oz, with his overalls and his beautiful hair, are on the ones and twos. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much. It has been a crazy, manic Monday. A lot of stuff going on over the weekend, fam. Did you enjoy the big game? And did you wear your mask when you were watching it?
Fam, I watched like very little of that game because I don't watch team sports, fam. And I think it's all part of entertainment used to distract people. But, you know, if you guys enjoy it, whatever, do you. I just, yeah, I'm not a fan of any of that stuff.
Bread and circuses, right, fam? Bread and circuses.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. But I did see a post from a friend out there who was like, hey, man, just take the time off from arguing with your family about everything that's going on and just sit and watch the game together. Maybe you'll find something to bond over with. And I know it's kind of crazy, but maybe some families who weren't talking probably just sat next to each other and just watched the game. And then maybe found a way to kind of like, you know, break bread together. I don't know. I'm always hoping for something.
Yeah. You're so optimistic.
Fam.
Like, I don't know. I just
because Americans are simple. They're simple people, right? There's a lot of simple people out there, and I know they're at war with each other. And I just hate to see people fighting. So, you know, anything that I can find in a positive way to think that maybe some people will come together over this. And, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the commercials were so terrible and shit, and you know, wagging your finger out there, trying to teach you a lesson and tell you how you should behave, fam. And all that was still fucking evident. It was still kind of nauseating, especially with all the, special people, not, the special chosen ones, the celebrities and the singers and the producers and the athletes that don't have to wear a mask in LA while everybody has to, pretty much to go into a restaurant and half the fucking places you got to show a vaccination card. It's ridiculous. It's nauseating at times.
Yeah. I mean, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, about the hypocrisy of certain people who pretend that they're so much better than everybody else, but at the end of the day, the rules don't apply to them. So, let's get started, fam, because we have a certain amount of time before our guest gets here.
Talking about something nauseating, fam, go ahead.
So Keaton Mansfield, who was with us in Nicaragua, one of the people who are part of Caleb's organization, went to this event at Austin, Texas by DSA. And it's an event that had AOC as a featured speaker. Now, AOC is in Texas promoting several candidates, including Jessica Cisneros and some other dude that I don't even, because I haven't been paying attention. I mean, years ago, I probably would have been paying more attention. I really haven't.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that these candidates are your status quo progressives. You know, they say we're going to push Medicare for all. We want a Green New Deal, the same fucking tired old bullshit that it's 2022. It doesn't work anymore. And, we're going to take over Democrats and we're going to get corporate money out of politics, the same shit. So she's over there supporting these candidates. And if she's supporting them, you should know that they're not very good, that they're going to be liberal establishment candidates, but masked under the progressive label. So he went and confronted AOC and pretty much told her that she didn't stand up for Nicaragua, didn't stand up for Venezuela, that she voted to fund the Iron Dome. And he really laid it all out there. So let's take a look at this video where he pretty much lays out all of these things.
About that a little bit too, because
you refuse to fight tooth and nail against the Iron Dome funding. You refuse to stand. Let's
talk about it.
You're a traitor to the people.
Let's talk about it.
To the people of the world.
Let's talk about it. Because let's actually start on that note, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in elephants in the room.
Yeah, me either.
Let's speak on it, because we are all here in solidarity to fight for human rights for Palestinians and Palestinian kids. So if we care about this, my brother, if we care about it, we gotta be about it. We gotta be about it. And when the votes happen, they have to.
Fam, we gotta be about it, fam. You gotta be about it, sister. The fuck does that even mean?
She obviously isn't about it because she voted present was a yes for the Iron Dome, because she knew exactly the votes needed to be calculated in order to get it to pass. And again, at the end of the day, this is what they do. They take turns. We've talked about it before. Some of them vote for certain measures, others hold back, and then next time around, it's whoever else, right? The squad, all of them actually voted to sanction Cambodia. They voted present on the Capitol Police. AOC in particular voted present on Capitol Police funds. And so this is nothing new. You know, we've been talking about this forever. And the most poignant part to me is that she didn't answer the question. She didn't give an answer as to why she should be held accountable for her vote. Mm-hmm. and the fact that she voted. She didn't answer the question. And also, the moment he asked this question, her sycophants were like booing him for not even asking a question, for literally stating facts, like facts that you can look up right now and you can verify her voting record. And they literally were shutting him up, booing him. And it reminded me of the time Franco went to the steps. Yeah. And Corey
was Anders Lee going to pop out, fam?
I know.
He's going to pop up. Boo! With your stupid cowboy hat.
I mean, what? So these people don't want to hear it, right? And it's just a microcosm of what these people are online. Like, this is what they do online. You tell them this is her vote and this is why she's a liar, she's a fraud, and she's just there to like bring people back into the party, into the Democratic Party. That is her job. She's an influencer. She's a celebrity. She's not really a politician that has, that like a politician should be. So they don't even like try to grasp that. They just automatically like deny, like, let's not hear it. And that reminds me of the behavior of a lot of these people when it comes to vaccine mandates and the COVID narrative as well. Like, you could tell them, you could show them data, you can show them numbers, you can show them facts, and they still won't like listen to you because their mind is already made up from the start.
Yep. Totally 1000%. And, you would think we live in a kind of, nuanced society where somebody, instead of booing, Mr. Mansfield over there, would go, yeah, why did you vote for that? Like, why don't you answer us right now? Why did you vote for the Iron Dome? You pulled this little act, you cried on the floor, you changed your vote. Why did you do it? And why did you say all those things about Venezuela? And why didn't you stick up for the people of Nicaragua and allowed, the Renaissance Act to just be thrusted upon the Nicaraguan people, mostly the poor people, without, causing a fuss? If you're for, fighting, if you're saying we got to be about it, AOC, Sandy.
Don't talk about it. Don't tweet
tell us
about
why.
it.
Yeah.
Be about it.
Be about it. Why aren't you about it? And how easily people take this whole fucking just bullshit, this noise that she puts out there. I don't even know what you would say. It's just so full of shit, this pandering of sorts. But she's in Texas. Did she endorse Sema Hernandez or no?
I don't know.
I haven't seen anything about it. What about the progressives? Because you just pointed out that she's gonna, if she's endorsing somebody, who's she endorsing? What's going on?
The progressive there is Jessica Cisneros, and she's been touted as being a progressive. But like I said, like, I don't consider her a progressive. I don't consider Sema Hernandez you could consider them progressives in those terms. Like AOC is a progressive, but they're not really there when it comes to the issues of anti-imperialism, the COVID issue. They're not.
But all these people hung in there for her, fam, is what I'm saying. These were the progressives. They're like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? She's more progressive than the other ones. They're more in line with us. So we have to align with the squad, even though we're not getting everything we want, but they're fighting with us. Don't these people see the pie they get in their face, that they're never going to support them? They're not there for that. They're for what you exactly talked about, for moving in more fucking neoliberals into the party to front as progressives just because they stomp their feet and say a few things like, we got to be about it. Why don't these people realize it? They got a lot of pie in their face right now. Are they going to still stick up for the squad?
I mean, they are. I mean, I think the vast majority of the people that are always going to stick up for her are going to stick up for her. And then, but a lot of people are seeing through more and more. I'm seeing more comments that are like, wow, I used to like her, but I don't anymore. But this is geared towards the DSA crowd, right? Like the faux revolutionaries, like the ones that like to pretend they want a revolution, but really they don't actually want any change. They just like pretending and feeling good that they do, because these are the next liberal, like these are the next generation of liberals that are hyper obsessed with culture wars, but don't really want to change or know how to organize any sort of economic change. They completely push away anybody from organizing anything. And it gets worse in terms of what happens with her, because she went, like I said, to Texas and started hanging out with these people that she's endorsing for office. And there's this whole thread of her, if you guys want to see, I don't want to waste our time, but she said that Texas will turn blue. And she was cheering, like just jumping around and cheering that Texas will turn blue. It's inevitable. So you can just play the video. It's very short. It's a minute long. So she got in all her virtue signals, in case you didn't notice, wages, union, undocumented workers.
She didn't say, fam, we're going to stand by the LGBT community. She should be canceled. How dare she leave them out?
Well, it's Texas, so she's allowed to do that. But she's talking about turning the state blue. Do you guys notice how like she's literally just like she's a clown for the Democratic Party. She's over there performing theater for the Democratic Party. She's not even doing what she used to do as like a DSA person, really, like as some sort of revolutionary. She's just flat out in campaigning for the Democratic Party to give more power to these Democrats that have literally done absolutely nothing but screw the American people more. And I'm not saying this to tell you to go vote for Republicans, because they haven't done anything either. But other than screw people, what I'm saying is stop, like, realize that you're being played, because this is just hilarious to me. Vote blue. It's 2022, and here's AOC, the one who's going to bring the ruckus, and who is going to be the revolutionary leader, the next Bernie Sanders. Well, she's doing a good job of sheep herding people into the Democratic Party, just like Murdy was doing towards the last part of his campaign, especially. But since he ran, and she's just pretty much doing that like times 10, and she's becoming the Nancy Pelosi of her generation. 100%, absolutely.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi was for Medicare for all, and then all of a sudden she started pivoting, right, at one point. And AOC will pivot too as well. But she gets all the culture bullshit in there. So, and not to say that's not important, but that's, the only thing that's like a lot of on these progressives' minds. You know what I'm saying? There's no nuance when it comes to economics or foreign policy, which we're going to talk about today. I mean, we've talked about this from the get-go, fam. If we have a movement, a general strike, something that's really going to take hold, it's going to come out of labor, because it's going to combine everybody. But now, the progressives are pushing back against it. You don't hear AOC saying anything about that shit. She's going to probably be in their camp of calling them racist idiots. And that's that. But, I'm starting to get tired of talking about Sandy. I just want a clip of Danny Terrio from Greece going, Sandy. Like, I just want that up there now because it's become comical at this fucking point.
It is comical. It's comical, but I think it's just kind of like, we're not talking about it in the same narrative as, oh, she's just corrupt and look at how awful she is. But we're talking about it in the sense of she's this is a narrative that they're trying to push. This is the way they're trying to skew people, not just like, oh yeah, she's corrupt, whatever, but like, why? What is her purpose? What is her real role in this situation? And her real role is that she's an influencer, that she is this character for the younger generations to fall into this whole revamped neoliberal progressivism, because that's what it is. It's just like a rebranded neoliberalism under progressive, just culturally progressive, and that's it. Because there's no economics, no working class structure to it. It's all elitist. It's all just a virtue signal. And at the end of the day, it's giving more power to the status quo. You're not challenging power at all. So that.
And it's a lot of fucking mentally ill people over there. I'm saying that are fucking all into this shit. They're the narcissism of this whole situation, that you have to put your personal feelings over every fucking thing else, and you can't work with people who feel differently than you. That what Niko said on that show when you did it today, it's like, that person, you're not going to like that person, but when you come down there to protest against fascist mandates, you work together, and then you can go back to hating each other whenever, whatever. But what I'm saying, we're not getting there with Sandy. Sandy's there to fool us and take our eyes off the prize. But I'm very happy and thankful that the two last people to really get in their faces, 3 if you count Max Blumenthal, Franco and Keaton are friends of ours, friends of the show, and I am so proud of them for doing these things. Franco laughed in AOC's face. He went, ha! Keaton told her, like, you refuse to fight tooth and nail. I didn't know he was that much of a presence, because the guy is such a lovable guy with that cowboy hat. So proud of him. I'm so proud. And we got to continue to do that, because we got to, fucking beat back this bullshit image that she has, that she's for the working class person. She's not. She's there to distract you and shepherd you back into the Democratic Party. That is what FAM has been saying for a long time. That is her job. Do your job, Sandy. She's doing it. Super Rays.
That's it for that one.
Yes. Super Rays.
Yeah.
Toward your health, fam, your work, your family, friendships, shelter, food, toward your generosities, peace of mind, and whims, toward your understanding decadence to the minimum and healthy balance, to the fierce, warm heart and kind, honest, truthful, clarifying, elucidating words. The Convo Couch rocks. Rocking with the Convoy too. That's from AREM. Thank you so much. Kristen Nye, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Fam, we got a guest coming up at the top of the hours and a half hours, so we should jump into it. It's going to be a frontline nurse today, ladies and gentlemen. Nicole Saratek. It will be on Rokfin only. Let's get to the next topic.
Yeah, so the liberals have begun tying the trucker movement and the trucker convoy, the Freedom Convoy, to Russia, which is hilarious, but it's completely predictable. I was waiting for that to happen. And the left is now marching for mandates and countering the protests of anti-mandate workers, which is hilarious because, guys, like, the left used to be against, like, authoritarian measures. The left used to be for freedom of speech. The left used to be the people that were out in the streets marching for, people to have the right to say what they wanted. They used to be against the empire unequivocally, and this is part of the empire. So I said it's a sad state when the North American left has aligned itself to intelligence agencies, which is exactly what they're doing. Big pharma, the empire. Let's add the State Department to that, the military-industrial complex. So there they are protesting against the working classes, called to end vaccine mandates, and are in favor of the authoritarian overreach from Trudeau's neoliberal government. Trudeau, who was also part of the government that also was in favor of funding these neo-Nazis that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
So you guys can see him there. You can play it.
Damn, he's also a young global leader.
Oh, World Economic Forum. Yeah.
Yep. Oz is shaking his head, fam. It's a sad day in America.
This is called co-option.
Wow. You know, you can always tell who the obedient soldiers were by the masks they wore outside. But now, the ruling class has to be really happy that these people are going out and celebrating that all their information they're coming from, everything they're marching for, comes directly from Big Pharma, the World Economic Forum. These are like the fucking little patsies of it all. Our mics are on,
Yeah.
right? I think we had enough, right?
Yeah.
We had enough. Nauseous.
So I just wanted you guys to know how the chants that were used for the movement, you know, during Black Lives Matter, during any sort of Occupy protest, any sort of like anti-empire protest, they're using those same chants. They're using those same chants to pretty much cheer on and say, get rid of the occupation. What occupation? Oh, that's right. A bunch of working class truckers of all ideologies, of all races and ethnicities and religious affiliations saying we don't want these vaccine mandates from this authoritarian government. And because they're saying that, they're calling them fascists. And they're acting like they're doing some sort of God-given, like, superior moral act by marching in these streets against these so-called Nazi right-winger fascists. But really, who they're really hurting aren't the supposed Nazi right-winger fascists that are in Canada that somehow have Confederate and Trump flags, but they're really hurting themselves. They're hurting the working class because they're empowering the big pharma. They're empowering the central intelligence agencies, the covert agencies. They're empowering the status quo. And Canada, a neoliberal government, they're empowering that neoliberal government. And I know, socialists, real socialists, aren't content with the current neoliberal Trudeau government. So why would you continue empowering it? Why would you continue empowering the police state? Why are you trying to end a protest that now has been deemed by mainstream media, by the Trudeau government, by the United States government, by literally every establishment mouthpiece has been labeled and smeared as a right-wing neo-Nazi protest? But you're just not questioning that part. It doesn't make any sense. And these people are just a joke because they're not protesting for anything but more control.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, fam, a lot of those people marching over there, they were wearing a cloak. That was the cloak of virtuosity. Like you said, oh, we're the right ones over here. And like you said, they wear it under the guise of like, oh, they're for protection of workers. No, it's not.
Right.
How can you say this is a right-wing fucking nationalist, racist kind of event when most people affected by these mandates are who? People of color. You know what I'm saying? They are the ones who are the most hesitant out there to take this shot. And we should respect that. We should respect it across the board. but yet they're still, I mean, they have these little minions out there just marching, whatnot. And everything they were saying, if we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. Here's a movement where they're absolutely shutting it fucking down. And these idiots are on the wrong side.
Yeah.
They really are. And it just shows you how we have obedient soldiers in this country, in the world. In the world, we have obedient soldiers. And it shows you the power of propaganda and what reach the ruling class has. Seeing that being that big was very disappointing. I saw Oz putting his head down and shaking his head. It's scary because I don't know if we'll ever get out of it if this many people are going to be duped.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as big as the trucker, like the thousands of people that came out, but it was still significant in terms of the number. But it's hilarious to me. One other thing I want to say before we move on about that, it's hilarious to me how people who understand U.S. imperialism and you understand color revolutions and understand fake protests and protests that have been calculated and pushed and created by the empire, don't look at that protest and see how vapid and how superficial it is. Like, how do you not, if you can spot color revolutions all over the world, and you can spot when something is a false flag for an attempted overthrow of a government, but you can't spot that this is just a calculated group of very confused people that aren't marching for anything, like there were so many people on the left applauding these people. And I'm like, what are you applauding? You're applauding their subservience to an authoritarian government. And you think it's some sort of leftist win when it's not at all that. It's the opposite.
Well, the American left doesn't understand power, right? We've said this. American left doesn't understand power. The Canadian left doesn't understand power either. So they'll hand the keys over to the mass murderers and say, you drive the car. They're ridiculous.
So apart from that, the truckers were unfortunately, the Freedom Convoy were unfortunately removed from the bridge. So this was the Ambassador Bridge, the protesters that were blocking the border between Detroit and with over vaccine mandate. And you guys can see that they were forced to clear access of the busiest bridge. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Oz, is she cutting in and out? Can you hear her? Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I haven't done anything.
No, it's the internet that's messing around. But pretty much what Fam was just saying is that you can see that how the bridges were closed down over here. Dramatic scenes. You want to come in and come out again, or
yeah.
let me? Well, wait, you sound okay now. Go ahead, talk about the dramatic scenes. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna read this second part. So the police came in and started arresting the protesters, and they were charging them with mischief, and they started towing the vehicles. And then the bridge was still closed, and then they forced them to leave the bridge. And then the police came and threatened to arrest people that were still lingering there. So the bridge was important for them, for the police, because the bridge allows about $360 million a day in cargoes. So it's 25% of the U.S.-Canada goods. And so that was a huge reason as to why they were like so obsessed with it. And you guys can see in the pictures how they began arresting protesters, and they're going to charge them with certain things, including mischief. Including mischief and including a bunch of other stuff. So it's really bad. It sucks because, this could have been, I don't know. I don't think it's over, but at the same time, like, this is a big detriment because they were planning on continuing into the States. Yeah.
Well, the next slide talks about FAM too as well, that the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, he invoked the Never Used Before Emergencies Act to deal with the protest. I put up a question on a thread we had today, and I said, well, what do you think is going to happen now that he's enacted this, these emergencies powers? They've never really been used before.
Right.
And I'm very curious to see what happens. Canada is known as a, very much a peaceful place, very passive people. They leave their doors unlocked, that kind of thing. You know what it's all about. But seeing the veterans that were standing on that bridge, some of those bridges trying to block, get in between some of the protesters and the police officers, and the police officers just trying to be really nice. Please move about, please, about, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be.
You're cutting out now. Hello. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah. So the importance of this, can you see me or? Okay. On. I don't know what's happening. Give me a second. What? Okay. So the importance of this is that the Canadian Prime Minister of like Trudeau himself literally invoking this act is a really big deal. Like it's a gigantic deal because it's going to set a precedent not only for Canada but potentially for the United States to invoke, how they've invoked the emergency use authorization for COVID. They're going to continue invoking this sort of thing. So I think it's important that's noted. Also, I wanted to. Are you ready, Oz? Okay, because I have a picture I wanted to show. So you guys know how like the left has been critical about these protesters, calling them Nazis and all this sort of thing. Well, Hassan Piker has been one of those people, and I'm going to show a video of where he talked about what he wants to do to the protesters and how hypocritical that is, because I think it's important that people understand, like, when I bring someone like that up, it's for a specific reason. So he went to the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl tickets are thousands of dollars. It's extremely expensive to go. So right away, it's like, okay, there are better uses for your money. He just bought a car and all this stuff. Like, I don't really care about that stuff that much. But when you tout yourself as like some sort of like proletariat and you're not, like, it's just kind of hilarious. And so you can see the picture of him there at the game. Now, here's what he said. And notice he's maskless, just like the vast majority of the people that were at the Super Bowl were not wearing masks. And like Costa said, they completely changed the rules to make it so people could show a test or a vaccination card, because before it was particularly just straight up vaccination cards only. You couldn't even show a test if you were, for the regular games. And so for the Super Bowl, it seems like COVID just left because COVID just didn't attend the Super Bowl and people stopped wearing masks, and the TVs were trying to hide that. But I want to show what Hassan said about these people and what he thinks should be done to them. Take a look.
That's so annoying. They just like blow their horns the entire day. They should literally make that illegal and also throw people in jail. Straight up. It's the most annoying way to protest. I think you should absolutely get thrown in jail, and maybe even like you should be police brutalized a little bit, like a baby bit. Okay? That just for being so annoying. I mean, straight up. Just like a little bit. Like, not like police brutalizing, like, how do I describe it? Like, you're a skateboarder in America and a cop catches you doing skateboarding where you're not supposed to. I'm not saying like police brutalize in the sense that like you're like a black teenager. I mean, like, police brutalize in, like, a regular police altercation where there is, like, a little bit of escalation, just like a baby bit, you know?
For what? Hey! What are you doing? Hey! Hey! Yeah, he failed to ID.
Well, that's so annoying. I'm already done. Like if they were just like partying and they're like, yeah, take your masks off, don't you know? That's fine. Who cares, right? But the honking of the horns, that's really fucked up. That's so annoying because it's such an annoying thing, such a nuisance. You know, just crack literally just baton them a little bit. You know, impound some vehicles, baton them a little bit. They'll stand down. They're all pussies.
Protesters just because he doesn't like their tactics of using horns or because he doesn't agree with them because he just doesn't see eye to eye on one issue. He's advocating for them to get arrested, for them to be brutalized. He used the words brutalized. This is a person that you get so much pride on the left for being some sort of like leftist that does good for people. And it's like, it's crazy. But he is one of many who is advocating so much violence and so much crap for these people just because they don't like them. And at the end of the day, it's not because these people are really right-wingers or neo-Nazis. It's because they're anti-mandate. And that's what bothers them, that these people are anti-mandate. So they have to stick some sort of something label to them to discount them because they're mad that these people are rising up and are the working class that are rising up. And that's why they're so angry. Pasta, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I heard the end of that. So please continue on.
So I also wanted to show, I think, this thing leading on to the next one, and I'll go right into the next one because this is really interesting. And like I said, I called it before. But this person wrote, this seems strange. Why would accounts be tweeting about Ukraine with mentions to the Ukrainian and Russian presidents while also promoting the trucking protests? And why U.S. politicians and influencers? And you guys can see in the name is Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore's name is there. And Tulsi Gabbard's name is there. And a few others. So basically what this person is saying is insinuating that there's some sort of connection between Ukraine, people mentioning Ukraine and Russia and the convoy. So they're basically saying that if you're mentioning the trucking protests and you're talking about Russia, the Ukrainian and Russian presidents, there's some sort of weird thing going on. And that person is insinuating this based on literally nothing. And Max Blumenthal tweeted, according to online security huckster sources, Jimmy Dore and Tulsi Gabbard will invade Ukraine in a big rig by Tuesday. Because
funded by Putin. Funded by Putin.
But they're trying to create this narrative that not only are these people right wingers now, because I posted a tweet about narrative management, right? Not only are these people, first they were just anti-vaxxers, and they were, now they're right-wingers and neo-Nazis, and they were like, they're connected to Trump. Now it's like, they're connected to Putin too, and Russia, and it just gets worse and worse because that's where this narrative is going. And it's a fucking joke because she has no evidence. They have no evidence. They're just creating this idea that, these right-wingers are also for Putin. And I can't tell you how much I've seen that because I've seen that all over the internet now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Remember the overlords when they told us that they had to take down certain things from the internet and the interwebs, like QAnon and Alex Jones, because they're such a danger because they've put up all these false bullshit flags and whatnot. And I was arguing with a friend of mine who was like, no, you have to do this shit. It's just gotten out of hand. This shit happens on a regular basis, really, to tell you the truth. So it's really not about misinformation or disinformation, whatnot. It's about team sports and who you criticize and where you criticize. I don't know the mentality of people who listen to this woman whatsoever, but I know there's a lot of people out there that will do that. Like, oh shit, we're finding evidence, fam. The Convo Couch is probably part of that whole little crew. Jimmy Dore, Tulsi Gabbard, MCSC Network. They're working with the Russians, and they're putting out this propaganda. People will actually buy into this shit. So what does that say, right? What does that
Yeah,
say
yeah, they
about
do that.
when we're picking allies and who we need to work with? I think at this point, we can no longer entertain this shit. I think we had, when it first started, we had like a patience bone, right? Like, okay, you know, they're getting duped a little bit by the Putin thing and whatnot, but they'll get over it eventually. They'll see, but yet that they're still doing this despite zero proof whatsoever, everything we went through. And a lot of people were like, well, what do you like Trump? Why are you saying it's okay for him to talk with Putin? And we would always say, guys, this is the country with the other amount of nuclear weapons that like equate to us right now, right? This is about world annihilation. This is about the Cold War. You know, the one job 30 years ago from any president when it came to foreign policy was keep us out of war with Russia. You have to work with them. They have weapons. World War III fought with nuclear weapons. World War IV fought with sticks and stones. We don't want that. And it's a dangerous precedence that was set by the establishment when they couldn't win on their own merits and they had to find a boogeyman to blame. And it was a weak excuse, which still allows Congress to be funded by NATO members and military industrial complex to saber rattle on the Ukrainian border and stuff with the Russians so they can sell more weapons. It's a dangerous precedence altogether. And the mental mindset of it, I can't deal with it anymore. I'm just not going to pay attention to those people anymore. I'm not going to try to have adult conversations with people who think that Putin is funding this convoy.
Yeah, exactly. And right along, I just want to go ahead and move on to the next phase because this is about the propaganda machine to manufacture consent for this this bullshit story that Russia is invading Ukraine, right? That's the narrative. Russia is invading Ukraine, and so the United States has to step in and help these Ukrainians to survive because Russia's invading Ukraine. One of my friends said that one of the Ukrainian people she knows is literally had no idea what was going on. Like, that, what are you talking about? This is not happening. Russia isn't invading Ukraine. Where did you hear this from? And they're like, what?
Ned Price.
And so it's just, you know, if you actually talk to these people, they're like, what's going on? Even the president, of course, of Ukraine said the same thing. But I want to show this whole thing because it's really important to understand how they do this. So if you guys haven't seen this grandmother that's been all over mainstream media, her name, her last name is complicated, but her first name is Valentina. Nice name, Pasta. Granny Valentina, you may have seen her on mainstream media, but she's gearing up to fight this Russian invasion that's supposedly happening, right? And it's not only false, it's not only entirely just complete and total propaganda that Russia is invading Ukraine, but it's also organized by the neo-Nazi group Azov Battalion. And you can see it in the insignia in this video, and you can just play it, Oz, because you don't have to. We can talk through it because it's each super short. It's just
training for civilians today to teach
yeah.
self-defense in case of an attack from Russia. Eyewitness news report.
Which on over, Oz.
So you can see. You guys can see the video. In the video, you can see the symbol of the Azov Battalion, right? That's the neo-Nazi group. That's the same. Those are the same people we armed and back in 2014, and that we're obviously continuing to promote and work with right now. And it's insane. And this grandmother was put out like, oh my God, poor little granny. Look, she has to, even this 79-year-old grandmother has to take a gun and start figuring out how to defend herself because the evil Russians are coming. And it turns out to be entirely organized by this battalion and by these people. So it just goes to show you, right? Just like how this death cult in the US is creating this propaganda to manufacture consent, but we're getting much better at spotting it, I think, by now. And you guys can see it, that it gives it away. The Irish Times gave it away when they put the descriptor. They put the descriptor and they said, oh, this is Ukrainian tensions. Valentina Kostantynovishka, 79, holds a weapon during basic combat training for civilians organized by Ukrainian National Guard unit in Mariupol, which is where these people are. And they literally say it's organized by these people, but they don't name them. So what I wanted to get to is, so while the U.S. is literally continuing to arm and back neo-Nazis in Ukraine and is continuing to manufacture consent for an involvement, a proxy war with Russia via Ukraine, these leftists, these anti-imperialists are clutching their pearls at these truckers fighting against these mandates, and they're calling them all Nazis. Where is the outrage? Why isn't the mainstream media, Trudeau, all of the politicians and all of these important people, why aren't they freaking out about the Nazi signs that are right there? That's a Nazi sign. I mean, that's it's just in a different direction. It's a Nazi sign.
Yeah.
Where is their outrage?
And the Azov battalion, the Azov battalion, they hate. They don't just hate Jewish people as Nazis. They hate Russians. They've killed Russians and fought against Russians. They hate the ethnic Russians for quite some times, and that's the fact that we've empowered them. And this is something also to point out, not just, I'm going to kind of piggyback off what you said, fam. I'm not just going to point out the fact that, the progressives have been stupid about this thing. I mean, TYT, when Chunk and Anna did their whole special on this whole thing, it was just like, I was like, where the fuck? This is comical. They're like, oh, we need to sanction Putin directly, the oligarchs and stuff. I was like, where the hell are they getting this shit? But where are the conservatives? Where's the Republicans standing up and going, this is bullshit. We need to stop this stuff. Only the Masseys, the Rand Pauls, the libertarian-minded people and whatnot. Again, when it comes to foreign policy, the non-interventionists are there. Where are the Republicans? And you have a lot of Republicans out there who are saying the Democrats are everything evil when it comes to the boop situation. Just vote Republican, it will save everything. No, it won't.
Yeah.
Because they're in it on themselves. And we saw examples of the way Rachel Blevins got attacked by a Republican congressman. And it was almost like the tweet was written by a 12-year-old going at her, going, oh, you're just standing up for Putin's bad decisions. RT, go away. I'm like, the only thing you missed, Congressman, was Russia bad. But this is what we got. This is what we're dealing with. And this is why we say we're non-party people. We believe that both parties are full of shit. It really is one party. It's a two-party illusion. This is professional wrestling at its best. And Republicans, I don't want to hear shit because your party is saying nothing as this is going on and letting the Democrats, who have all their greedy, dirty, sticky fingers, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, Mr. Romney, he's got some dirty fingers there as well. So, I mean, it's messed up all across the board. And you're right, fam. It's hypocrisy at its best. You're going to call the working class people, the truckers, or Nazis. Meanwhile, we've been funding these guys. We funded them to overturn the government in 2014.
These are real Nazis. These are real Nazis.
Not cartoon Nazis. This is what I'm
talking about. And it's not a Trump supporter. It's not a fucking moron with a Confederate flag. It's an actual Nazi. Not only is it a Nazi, it's a whole fucking battalion of people with really big guns funded by your fucking government. Where is your outrage? Why aren't these people coming out in droves and saying we must get rid of these people? No, the U.S. is promoting them. Oh, they're helping little old Granny Valentina protect herself from the Russians. No. And you know what? The worst part is they make excuses. They're like, well, there's oligarchs in Russia, so we can't just say, it's like, oh my God.
Putin's anti-LGBT. Putin's anti-LGBT. So we'll allow the funding of actual fucking neo-Nazis, right? To fucking, you know what I'm saying? And fam, we've been saying this for how long? One of the reasons why we started this show is we were foreign policy geeks, and we were so upset that the progressives really didn't fucking know what was going on. So as we promote a lot of their candidates and stuff from the grassroots, we could talk about foreign policy, but they still don't know about foreign policy. They're still awful, and they're so easily emotionally manipulated still to this day. We can't leave Afghanistan for the women. We got to fight against Putin because of the LGBT issues. Like, hello? Are you guys fucking serious over here? You think the American troops invading a foreign land is wanted by the women of Afghanistan? You think it's like fucking Captain America over there? We're looked upon as occupiers. We're looked at as occupiers. And, this is why a lot of soldiers come home, a lot of American young kids, and they kill themselves because what they had to do in a foreign land, what they were made to do was disgusting. Just like in Vietnam, it happened again. It's continuing to happen. It hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, that's basically it. I really just wanted to show, the hypocrisy and of that too. And just like how it's just crazy to me. Like, why are more people freaking out or fighting neo-Nazis? I mean, this is the neo-Nazis, because Nazis don't really exist in like the essence that they were anymore. Like it was a group of people back then, and they were like those type of Nazis. Anything new is really neo-Nazis. These are like the continuation of that. And for a group of people that touts itself as being anti-fascist, I just don't see the level of attention paid to this. I see more attention paid to Joe Rogan, more attention paid to discounting and dismissing these truckers as right-wing and white supremacists. I don't see that outrage. Even if people mention it, saying, oh, that looks bad, I don't see the outrage, the same level of vitriol directed at these people that your government is funding, and it's a gigantic army of people. And so for me, apart from the propaganda, that's obviously propaganda to manufacture consent for war, you have to also understand why the theory that these people from Canada are all a bunch of white supremacists just doesn't add up. Because why is the State Department, silent on these neo-Nazis, but so vocal about these truckers? And you can just find your answer there. Follow the money, follow the power, and it's there.
Yeah. Fam, can you read the super raise? I'm going to try to get in touch with my guest real quick, and then we can go over to Rokfin only. But let me try to hook up with the guest, because I don't know if she's getting the link. But yes.
What's the last super raise?
The one where I said it's always appreciated on the couch. Kristen Nye.
Costa, that was not the question.
Yeah, that one.
At all whatsoever.
You got a bunch of cool people in there. Cultist demons there. Start with that one, and I'm going to reach out to my guest.
My thing isn't working, so hold on. Sorry, guys, it's not my computer. It's being. I just don't understand, like, these people. Like, they're just so freaking hypocritical when it comes to all this stuff. All right, Kristen Nye, we read that. Cultist demon. They may make some people feel good, but I think these kids, or these kinds of hostile confrontations with politicians like AOC, are counterproductive. He definitely didn't win the crowd. Bad tactic, in my opinion. Well, I disagree. I mean, I think it might look like that to the crowd, because it's so quick and it's so, like, in your face. But in a video that video he posted got over 130,000 views. So it looks to me like people are seeing that. And from what I'm seeing on people's comments, people are like, wow, like, I can't believe I used to like her. She's so bad. She's such a fraud. And it's not people just that follow me only. It's a lot of people just in general, right, are seeing that. So I think in that sense, it's actually good. I don't think you're going to get as polite as you may be, because if we saw Frank was one of the most polite people in the world that I've ever met, and patient. And I didn't see him be received with respect at all from these people. I don't think we're ever going to get to sit down and be like, oh, let's have tea and crumpets with AOC and she's going to listen to our concerns. I just don't think we're going to get that in that setting. What else would you suggest? I think we actually need more of that. We need more people to expose these politicians, to go up to them and be like, why did you vote for this? Why did you vote for that? They should know how to respond to that. And if they don't, well, then they should get the hell out, because they have no reason being there if they're not going to know how to handle a simple basic question as, why did you vote for this legislation that is ruining people's lives, that is killing people? That it's very, very simple. If you don't understand foreign policy as a congressperson, you have zero business being there. And the vast majority, like literally 99% of them, do not. So there's that. And David Guevara, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. Great job, guys. $20 since CIA to demonetize you. Thank you very much. They did. Carrie Mark. Very few of the people who were masked were masked at the Super Bowl. Did they all hold their breath like Newsom? Yeah. I mean, obviously they all held their breath, right? It's so fucking ridiculous. Lori Jones, nice to see you, fam. God, Lori, you're gonna make me read this right now? Seriously? This protest is such a nuisance, bitch. That's the point of most protests. And fuck the Super Bowl anyways. That shit is loaded with unhoused sweeps. Exactly, Glory. Something I forgot to mention was that they did push people into Skid Row, and they started doing massive sweeps because of the Super Bowl. And they're going to continue doing that for the Olympics coming up as well. And she said, ICE, piggies, DHS, and human trafficking, and free Mr. Wilson. And most importantly, happy anniversary to the amazing shadow ban refugee and his lovely, beautiful wife, Miss Lunar T. Aw, happy anniversary, shadow band. I didn't know. Gotta tell us, fam. We'll give you a shout out. Teresa Allen, this is the colonial imperialism all across Turtle Island. I still stand. Thank you, Teresa. We appreciate it. Tim L. Trump was impeached a second time for blocking arms sales to the neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Who's the fascist in the U.S.? Love the show, fam. Yeah, I mean, both parties, Tim, like both parties. It's one party, right? It's one party. And I agree with Steve that the winning ticket is going to be somebody that says we're going to unite America and blah, blah, blah. But it's not going to happen, because what they mean by uniting is completely just ignoring the American people and merging what's already merged. It's already merged, but physically trying to say, oh, we're going to align Democrats and Republicans together. Because if you think about it, what they've been saying when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, they've been saying, oh, by the way, Russia and Ukraine, it's the first time we've been so well aligned and connected with each other since 9/11. Like they're so happy. They're working together. Mitch McConnell and Pelosi, who are normally at odds with each other, have been working together. So I really think that's the next ploy, is to be like, oh, well, we need to unite the country, but it's not going to be a real unity. The only way you can unite the country is the working class uniting and going and saying, we're going to stop this and taking on this authoritarian government that like these truckers did in Canada, but a massive movement like that of working people together. And for that to happen, lefties, you're not going to have, it's going to require you to work with people that may not be what you consider to be left. It's going to require that. And I will argue with anybody about that. I will argue with people ad nauseum about that, because nobody's telling you have to be best friends with a white supremacist, because most people are not a white supremacist. They might be some Republicans that have different views that want, something dealing with immigration, but they're not going to be white supremacists. And like Niko said earlier in his stream, you might not like this person, but you're going to work with them to get this, and then you can go back to hating each other, because we're at a point where we're not even going to be able to freely hate each other, because we're not going to have that ability when we don't have a free press, when we're jailing journalists like Julian Assange for exposing the war crimes, when we can't even say anything freely because we get taken off of YouTube, or when we do say things, we have to be careful now because the government might consider us terror threats, because that's exactly what's happening. Right. And so when we're going towards this direction of authoritarianism, and the left, instead of being the opposition to it, it was the whole thing, it was supposed to be the opposition to a lot of that, has become its main arbiter, its main leader of this sort of fascist tactic, more than even the right. And so, a lot of people on both sides are duped by these politicians, whether it's Trump or some other glorified right winger on the right, or whether it's AOC or the next, glorified leftist on the left. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's just a perpetual team sports sort of game, just like the Super Bowl. It's like, pick your team. Oh, you have no choice. You don't want to pick a team. You don't even want to watch it, but it's there and everybody's watching it, and you're in your room and you can hear it from the TV. And it's like, it surrounds you, even if you don't want to be a part of it. And so that's that's essentially where we're at, right? And I don't know. I think it's going to require a lot more than what we think. Anthony, thank you for the Super Ray. He said Ambassador Bridge shutdown was amazing. What do you mean by that? Amazing? Like amazing for like the trucker people? Because I feel like they got screwed. But I don't know. What do you mean by that? Because they got removed. So I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, I think Oz, if you want to do something, maybe we could go to the next section. Let's see.
I know. You can bring me back in. I don't know where our guest is. I am not reaching her. I was just talking to her at the top of the hour and everything was good. So I don't know if she's a nurse and she had to get run off. Oz, is my picture okay? Okay.
Well, don't lie to him, Oz.
Yeah, we're going to go to Rokfin only anyways.
We're going to go to Rokfin only because we're going to talk about this activist, right?
Yeah. This activist who gave these speeches. This was an amazing. Somebody sent this to me.
Do you want to put Joe Rogan first?
Yeah, we can put Joe Rogan's clip up. Let's play that close real quick.
That is clip 38.
Yeah.
Slide 38. Okay. Yeah. So Pasta, what is this video about?
It's just, Medhurst, he does great work at times, most of the time. I love him. And he did a video really too, just showing the hypocrisy of the way, Joe Rogan is smeared versus his actual appearance and how he's perceived and how he's looked upon, especially from his guest. So it just shows you that some of these people out there, they're just mad. They don't really believe that he's a racist or a homophobe and all that stuff. They just want to smear him because he's not on Team Blue. And he proves them wrong. And Medhurst shows in this video how wrong these people really are. So
right, because they're saying he's a right winger. They're saying he's
all
a racist. Stuff. And yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, he's not like he shows exactly how he isn't. So yeah.
I really believe if Michelle Obama runs, she wins.
Joe Rogan is a racist conspiracy theorist.
She's good. She's great.
Rogan is a racist, sexist douchebag of the first order.
She's the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime.
Joe Rogan is a racist. Now I see why Republicans love him.
I've never voted right-wing in my life.
He's a total right-winger.
I want free college education.
Take it easy. He never has any real left-wingers on. He's constantly bringing on fake left-wingers.
Hello, Bernie.
How are you, Joe?
The radical right loves and lives for Joe Rogan.
I like Tulsi and I like Bernie. That's it.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else can eat shit.
Look at you, fucking...
Supported by white nationalists, supported by bot trolls, supported by Russians.
Joe Rogan, I don't think has ever met a trans person until recently.
In fact, Eddie Izzard is one of my all-time favorite guests.
Oh, I love Izzard. So he's really cultivating this narrative that trans women are indeed predators.
Joe Rogan's show is full of right-wing propaganda.
I think I'll probably vote for Bernie.
Joe Rogan is more of the bro portion of that conservative movement.
I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't.
A chronic purveyor of right-wing hate.
I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner-city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and throw a fuckload of them. Spend more, you fucking Republican piece of shit.
This is what Limbaugh used to say.
A chronic purveyor of right-wing lies.
87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming.
Rogan serves the same purpose as Rush Limbaugh.
I'm very pro-choice.
A modern-day Rush Limbaugh.
Women's rights, civil rights.
Conservative radio host Joe Rogan.
Gay rights, trans rights.
A far-right influencer.
I'm even universal health care.
Just a full-blown conservative right-winger.
Open racism for years. If you like Joe Rogan, I am going to assume you are racist. Joe Rogan very much benefits the neo-fascist alt-right.
I can't recommend your book, Race Matters, enough.
Bam. He's a racist son of a bitch. And if you like him, I'm assuming you're a racist too. This is a tactic used by the ruling class to make sure that we are split. I'm saying smearing anybody, like if that person talks about that, you know what I'm saying? One incident, one issue, no matter what, overall, they have to be awful. They have to be, ostracized and they have to be canceled. And this is a tactic that works well. And you can see it being applied over here when it comes to Joe Rogan. And you know who all the Fugazi assholes are now, the Sam Cedars, the TYTs, the humanist reports. We knew they were assholes the whole time. We've been telling you guys this, that these people are fake phonies, and now they're just showing their true colors, fam.
Yeah, and it's hilarious watching like Michael Figueredo on there. Just like it's just you said it's the ruling class doing this, trying to divide us, but the people who have fallen for this very thing are the left, like what we know as the left in the United States of America. That left has completely embraced this. They do nothing but talk about Joe Rogan all day. You don't even have to be a massive Joe Rogan fan to say this is wrong, not just because of what they're doing to him, because it's wrong in general to smear people like that. Because this is what they do. They take parts of what you say and then, or some sort of like non-connection, and they try to create this connection to it. Like saying, the Great Barrington Declaration is funded by the Koch brothers and blah, 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 without actually having the money ties. And they just repeat it until somebody believes it and repeats it. And this is how they formulate their so-called facts that they put out. And they create this actual misinformation. And they brainwash all these people into believing it via this emotional, like, oh, see, he's anti-trans, he's a this or that, he's a racist. And I'm not saying that when he's, him using those words wasn't a big issue, or what was a non-issue, I would say. Because to me, it wasn't a big issue, but I would say it was a non-issue. And the reason I say that is because there was a context to be taken in. And I think it's dumb. But at the same time, it shouldn't be your focus. You should understand, like, why now? Why are they doing this now? Why are they focusing on this now? Do you not see that they're trying to get you to really hate this guy? Not because of what he said but because of the people he had on, because of the counter narrative that was pushed out to millions of Americans who watch him. And that is a threat to the status quo, because not necessarily Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan's the information that doesn't get provided, that even though we interviewed and others have interviewed these doctors, his massive platform allowed for the proliferation of that information at a level that was unprecedented. It's greater than any channel on television with all the money that they have. So that's what really did it for them, not anything else. And it's hilarious just watching them try to paint. I mean, I remember him interviewing Bernie. I remember him interviewing Tulsi. This guy is the kind of person that hears all opinions and then allows the shifting of his opinion depending on the new information he receives. That is something I will say about Joe Rogan, right? And it sucks what is happening, because I think there's been an allowance of him to censor himself a little bit. And that's what that's to me what's the saddest part of this.
Well, the saddest part about this whole thing to me is the fact that it's used to divide people, and used mainly so the elites can keep their power. If they can keep you focused on culture issues, you'll never pay attention to their foreign policy, their bombing, their economics, the way they're cheating you. You'll never pay close attention to the system that they've empowered to bring you down. You know what I'm saying? Instead, you'll pay attention to your neighbor and, those issues. And I think that, Niko and Sky Daddy have been speaking about this beautifully. They're saying that this is, you can say it's an issue and stuff like that, but, don't lose focus. Don't point the finger at your neighbor, because they're not half as deadly and half as dangerous as the elite and predator class that's ruling over all of us right now. And it is a shame that a lot of people on the left are really falling for this whole boop boop narrative. So let's say goodbye to everybody on YouTube so we can speak our minds and speak more about this stuff as we go into it. So thank you to everybody who's on the YouTube. We'll be leaving you now. Jilly Love, can you put the link up in the chat for us? Jilly Love, thank you so much. A lot of cool people hanging on out over there. We don't know how many trolls are in the YouTubes, because we don't get the thumbs down anymore because they stopped it. But let's put it up. There's 164 watching over there. There's 138 watching, 141 watching on Rokfin. I love the way those numbers keep going up. Guys, please go over to that Rokfin if you haven't. It's ROKFIN. We're improving the platform every day. Now you can actually leave tips or super raise, whatever you want to call them, from your Android phone. That wasn't possible up until about 2 weeks ago. They fixed that. And I want to thank everybody who's left the super raise today. I usually read them in a funny way, but I had to try to contact our guest. I don't know what happened to our guest. She is a nurse, so maybe she had to do something that pulled her away. But now is the time. We're leaving YouTube. We still have an awesome video to break down for you over in Rokfin Only, guys. You don't want to miss this. This is probably one of the most fire speeches I've heard in a long time. It is definitely, I want to get this woman on the show. You got to come over and check her out, ladies and gentlemen. Her name, I'm going to tell you right now because I want to make sure I say it right. Trisha Lindsay. I believe she's a civil rights lawyer and stuff, but she talks about magistrates. She talks about people. She talks about all the protocols. Get on over to Rokfin, leaving YouTube in 5, in 4. Thank you, Jilly Love. Thank you, Shadowban. 3 and 2. Congratulations, Shadowban. Happy anniversary. In 1. We'll see you later because